I was not invited to Maya's law school graduation party, which, ironically, is how most people find out something is wrong. To make someone else happy, I was scrolling through the family group chat when a series of images suddenly appeared. Like fireworks, one after the other, the champagne tower's liquid gold began to spill. Then the cake, a three-tiered marble fondant with a cascade from the top flute, appeared. Esquire Maya Collins, in gold cursive writing, glowing like it cost more than the last 3 months of our life. Along with the goods, there were unscripted photos of Maya, wearing a form-fitting gold gown, arms around strangers I had never seen, laughing, as if she had already erased my presence from her story. The horrible thing about hope is that it clings even when you're holding on by a thread. So perhaps there had been a mistake. Like a dagger, I scrolled back up. But there were only screenshots. No calls, no texts, no private messages. At a party I didn't know existed, I stared at the screen with a sagging feeling in my chest. Like gravity had doubled. For almost 3 years, I had been paying $950 of her rent each month. Her tuition and supplies, over $5,000 each semester. And yet, I told myself, there must have been an oversight. It wasn't even worth sending a polite text. Maybe she thought I was at work. Maybe she was trying to surprise me. Maybe that word kept me going. Maybe it was the only reason I kept going, regardless. I ironed my shirt. I showed up to the venue, a rented hall with gold trim and white linen drapes. A white Bentley was parked beside the door, looking like it had driven straight off the pages of a bridal magazine. I walked past it like it was a paid prop. Inside, I moved slowly, observing everyone walking and joking like they knew exactly what they were doing, wearing tuxedos and glittering gowns, like they belonged. At first, I didn't see Maya. Just more pictures being taken, more champagne poured, more practiced elegance. It screamed wealth, perfection, the kind of life Maya always implied she deserved, the kind I was meant to supply. Still, I stepped in. Let the aroma of roses fill my lungs. The lamb hit first, then a soft jazz blend that didn't quite match the moment. I stood there, half out, unsure whether to enter or retreat, and then I saw her. Softly waved hair, immaculate makeup, a golden dress that hugged like a designer's final sketch. She was laughing with someone who looked like a designer, holding a glass of champagne, curving her body with intent. The lawyer she stood with already had gray temples, piercing eyes, and cufflinks that probably cost more than my car. She blinked when she saw me, just once, like she was trying to figure out how I'd found her. Her father, Franklin, stood behind her, hands clasped like he owned the building. When his eyes met mine, I caught the smirk he couldn't quite hide. I hadn't met Jeanette yet, but I felt her presence. The kind of woman who watches you like a security camera. Uncle Terrence stood at the bar with 3 drinks deep, filming everything, not blinking. Cousin Ria was by the dessert table, watching me like I didn't belong. And Maya? Maya didn't approach me, didn't say anything. She turned away and clinked her glass with someone else's. At the far end of the room, under the floral arch, the cake read, Esquire Maya Collins in gold foil. But nowhere was there a mention of a husband. Of me. And it hit me. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't forgetfulness. This was planned, every tattered edge tucked in, every inconvenient truth swept away. Still, I lingered, watched them dance, toast, pretend. I almost laughed when Maya and her new partner claimed she did it all by herself. I remembered the missed meals, late bills, the extra hours I worked to make sure she had a future. But it didn't matter. I was invisible here. I didn't cause a scene. Didn't tap my glass with a fork and say, hey, I exist. I walked out, silently. through the flowery arch. The drive home, a haze of taillights and questions that would never be answered. I wanted to be angry, but all I felt was a deep, exhausting ache. The kind that comes from standing too long in the wrong place, waiting to be seen. I sat at the edge of the bed, stared at my shoes, scuffed even though I hadn't danced. I didn't call her, I didn't text. Eventually, I understood. This wasn't a mistake, it was a message, and I got it. I didn't sleep much that night. When I finally read the message, sleep felt like a reward for being emotionally stable. Embarrassment clung to me like cheap cologne. I couldn't stop pacing, thinking. By dawn, still no call, no text, not even a pity emoji. But I needed closure, even if I was the one thrown out like trash. So I decided to return. Not for drama, not to argue, just to see her. I put on a crisp white shirt, pressed it clean, wore my best shoes even if they were frayed at the edges. I stood in front of the mirror, took a final look. Not flashy, not dramatic, just real. By the time I arrived, the sun hadn't even burned off the chill. Most of the guests had gone. The staff were cleaning, caterers packing trays, security still at their posts. I approached the front door. Calm. Collected. "I'm Maya Collins's husband," I said. The guard squinted, tilted his head like I'd spoken a different language. He turned to a younger guard with a clipboard and an earpiece. The guy looked me up and down, then disappeared inside. I waited. 5 minutes, 10, the cleanup crew whispered. I was too plainly dressed to be a guest. Then the doors swung open. Maya walked out first, still in the gold dress, her father behind her, moving like a man with no shame. She didn't greet me, didn't ask how I was. She said I didn't belong, just like that. And that's why I came. "Franklin?" He smirked. "You really thought you were welcome?" 1,000 replies raced through my mind. Poetry, profanity. But I was too tired to perform. I turned to Maya. She didn't blink. "All right," I said. Not from defeat, from clarity. I walked away. No dramatic music, no slow applause, just the sound of my own footsteps and her silence, louder than anything she had ever said to me. When I got home, the numbness had solidified. I didn't take off my shoes. I sat at the kitchen table, opened our message thread. No new texts, just a series of old messages asking about her classes. Offering help, replies. "Busy, babe. Love you, though." I stared at the empty box, then typed exactly what needed to be said. "From next month, you'll be paying your own rent. Good luck. No fireworks, no rage, just quiet release. Not because I stopped caring, but because I realized she never did. And tonight, for the first time in years, I finally let her count her own money, bills, and regrets.